This is the flower of life. The flower of life has been documented by humans for millennia. In sacred texts, ancient sites and statues, churches and temple walls, ceilings and floors, and in crop circles. You can find the flower of life depicted all over the world throughout all the ages. And there's a good reason for this. It's because the flower of life is a pixel. It's the pixel of our screen of reality. And it turns out that humans have known this for a long time. Just like a TV screen has pixels so that a viewer can watch a movie, so does our reality have pixels so that we can observe and experience everything around us. But the technology of the flower of life pixels that make up our reality is far more advanced than the technology even of our most advanced high-definition screens. TV pixels are designed to project only a very narrow spectrum of energy, that of visible light. But the pixels that shape our reality can project all types of energy, sounds, tastes, sensations, feelings, and thoughts. Our flower of life pixels have the potential to project everything that is made of energy. And because everything is made of energy, that means they can project anything and everything. And the flower of life pixels are not just one size like a TV. Imagine that each circle within the flower of life is another flower of life, and the circles within that smaller flower of life are also flowers of life, going on, getting smaller and smaller for infinity. And then imagine that this flower of life is one of the circles within another larger flower of life, and so on, getting larger for infinity. There are flowers of life within flowers of life, forever big and small. This is what we call a fractal. Now imagine that every flower of life of every size is connected to every other flower of life by a wormhole. This connection is not an actual physical object, but a portal, a doorway between pixels that transcends space and time. You could step through this doorway and arrive instantly within the connected pixel, no matter where or when it was. These wormholes provide the potential for every pixel to interact with every other pixel in the screen. Now the flower of life here is a flat 2D image, yet on our screen of reality it is multidimensional. So the flower of life picture really doesn't do it justice. From a 3D perspective, it looks like overlapping spheres. It is the overlapping areas that look like the petals of the flowers, but this still suggests that it's a static object. Instead, the best way we can visualize a flower of life pixel is as a torus field, a vibrating field of perfectly balanced negative and positive oppositely charged energetic fields like a battery, spinning constantly, emerging from its center, or what we call the 0 point, spiraling out and in and returning back to the center to be reborn new again. Everything is a torus field, from the smallest particle or atom that we know of to the largest universe we can conceive of. Everything is a torus field made up of an infinite number of smaller flowers of life torus fields all connected together. Ancient Buddhist teachings describe this structure using the metaphor of Indra's net. Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net which has been hung by some cunning artificer in such a manner that it stretches out infinitely in all directions. In accordance with the extravagant taste of deities, the artificer has hung a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net. And since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hang the jewels glittering like stars in the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. If we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look closely at it, we will discover that in its polished surface there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in this one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that there is an infinite reflecting process occurring. This is the screen of our reality. So how does this screen work? Just like a pixel on a TV screen, a pixel within our reality is either on or off. When the TV is on, its pixels are waiting patiently for a transmission to be received. Without a transmission, they have pure potential because at this stage the pixel has the ability to project any colour. So it is waiting for a channel to be tuned, and then the pixel receives the transmission, and then it projects the colour the program tells it to be, the hue, the tone, the depth. And it projects that colour only for the briefest moment, because then the next frame of the program is received. Effortlessly, the pixel switches from black to white and any colour in between. The colour the TV pixels project is a frequency. The program they are receiving tells the pixels what frequency to vibrate at, and we then visually observe that frequency of vibration as a colour. And the TV pixels are not actually moving. They are just receiving different colours in each frame. So just like we saw with the torus field, they are being recreated anew in every moment, displaying a new colour. To take this a step further, let's now compare the screen of reality to the screen of a virtual reality game. Like a TV, the pixels in a virtual reality game do not change in any way as transmissions are received. Let's say you're in a virtual reality game and there is a rock. The pixels that make up the projection of a rock do not get heavier. When you see a person in a virtual reality game trying to lift a heavy rock, is anything on that screen actually heavy? No, you just know that a rock is heavy, so you imagine that it feels heavy, but nothing about the screen or the pixels gets heavier. The only thing that changes is the frequency, the colour. It's the same with the idea of a wall being projected on a virtual reality screen. There is no actual physical barrier on the screen. We see a wall and we know that a person can't walk through a wall, so that is what we perceive. But there is no actual wall on the screen, just the colour of a wall and the colour of space around it. This is actually the same as our reality, and this is why scientists cannot find any actual mass in the universe. They keep looking for smaller particles that weigh something, but all they find is empty space with no mass. It's because that's the nature of pixels. They have no mass, and it doesn't matter what they project, they don't change. It is the program they are receiving that gives them the illusion of weight and density. So if the rocks aren't really heavy and the walls aren't really barriers, why do they appear to be that way on our screen of reality? It's because of the interactions between the pixels. Unlike the TV pixels, as we said before, the Flower of Life pixels are all connected by wormholes, which gives them the possibility to connect to every other pixel. But before we talk about interacting pixels, let's talk about what a pixel is in its natural state before it receives a transmission. And to do that, we need to talk about energy. There are two parts to electromagnetic energy: electricity and magnetism. And we need to know what each of these are before understanding the nature of pixel interactions. Magnetic energy radiates. It radiates infinitely from a source. We might call this pure energy or pure light, unimpeded by anything. It simply radiates from the 0 point of every torus field. We humans are unable to perceive or observe this highest of intensity energy frequency. On the other hand, electrical energy is a wave. It has an amplitude, the height of the peaks and troughs, and a wavelength, the distance between the waves, and a frequency, the speed of the wave as it moves. There are an infinite number of combinations of these factors to provide an infinite number of patterns of energy. And everything in our reality is defined by its own unique energetic signature or pattern. So magnetic energy radiates outwards for infinity, and electric energy modulates the magnetic energy. In other words, it slows it down. This combination is what we call electromagnetic energy. When slowed down to within the range of perception of humans, we are able to sense the energy in some way. We can feel it, see it, hear it, smell it, think it, or feel it. Everything we sense is electromagnetic energy. But the pixels in their natural state are radiating pure, intense, infinite magnetic energy. So where does the electric wave come from? It comes from the interactions with all the other pixels. First of all, we need to understand that some pixels are connected together. Pixels grouped together create shapes or forms as we know them physically, although this also includes things like thought forms. Think about a human body. There is something that tells reality that your body is connected. There is an energetic signature that is shared by all of the pixels of the body so that it knows it is a part of the shape or form. We might call this coherence, resonance, or entanglement. The pixels are entangled by a shared electronic signature via their wormholes, and if one pixel does something, it affects all the other pixels entangled in the shape. But the body contains organs, and each organ too has its own electronic signature, so it can operate seamlessly as a single shape itself. Yet it still knows it is part of a particular human body, and each organ contains cells, and there is a signature that keeps the pixels of each cell entangled. And so it is for every shape or structure within the human body. Shapes within shapes, all held together as one by electromagnetic fields. And each shape or form of every size has its own torus field emitting its own unique energetic signature. And we can look the other way. There is a specific electronic signature that defines the human template. All humans are entangled electromagnetically with this template that defines a human shape. And we are also entangled with an electronic signature of a family, a community, a country, and a planet. Have you ever heard thoughts referred to as thought forms? That is because thoughts and emotions also share an electromagnetic signature and are a shape. There is a signature for anger, for love, for peace, for curiosity, and for fear. And of course, there are many, many nuances of these. We might think of these as shapes within shapes. The love we feel for a child differs from the love we feel for our partner. They have different signatures, but still share the same signature of the concept of love. Are you getting the picture of the complexity and connectivity of our screen of reality? So now we know reality is composed of entangled pixels creating shapes and forms for everything we experience in reality. We can see how interactions between shapes and forms are what creates the frequency of each object and therefore defines how they interact in reality. Let's start with a person and a wall. Any physicist knows that when a person and a wall come together, that there is no particle of the person that actually touches any particle of the wall. There is instead a repulsion between the particles of the person and the particles of the wall that do not allow them to pass through each other. The electronic signature of the wall is so slow and so dense that it repels the higher frequency of the human. You know, when you try and put the same poles of a magnet together, you can't do it no matter how hard you try. The magnets aren't touching though, are they? This is the same as the wall and the person. On the other hand, the human can pass through the form of water. Water is not as dense as a wall. The human can go through water, but note that the human particles still do not touch the water particles, even when the person is immersed in water. The repulsion is simply enough to allow the human to appear to float in the water while still maintaining the human form. The water also maintains its form around the human form. So these have been some obvious physical examples of pixels interacting with each other, but what about things we can't see? What about thoughts and emotions? These are also shapes we interact with, as are beliefs and archetypes and traits and all ideas and concepts. Our relationships with these unseen objects is what is responsible for creating our personality and experiences. As an example, if you feel you are unhealthy, then you are entangled with the torus field of the thought form of ill health or disease. Poor health has its own specific signature, and if you resonate with that, then you are entangled with it. You are also entangled with all potential experiences that involve poor health. This is how experiences are drawn towards us. This is the law of attraction in action. On the other hand, if you truly feel you are healthy, then you do not resonate with the thought form of poor health, nor the experiences of poor health, and they are therefore not attracted to you through entanglement. We resonate with all the things we think and believe, and we draw to us situations and experiences that are also entangled with the electromagnetic signature of the thoughts and beliefs. In other words, it is our relationship and interactions with shapes and forms that creates us and our lives. Without interactions, we are pure radiating light. The interactions we have cause our pure light to be modulated by the electronic signature of the forms we are interacting with. The energy of the thing we are interacting with has been defined by all the things that that thing itself is interacting with, and so on for all things. We are indeed mirrors of all our interactions, like the reflecting jewels in Indra's net. So your whole life, your body, your experiences are based on your interactions with energy, and your outside world is mirroring to you the nature of your interactions. That means the key to changing your life is changing what you interact with and how you interact with those things you choose to. This is what it means to be a sovereign being, to consciously choose what you want to interact with and how. The beliefs about some forms, like humans can't walk through walls, is so strongly entangled with the human template that it is extremely difficult to change. These are collective beliefs and very strong. Although I am sure we have all heard of stories of people who can walk on water, or levitate, or perform seemingly impossible feats. But many of our beliefs are individual to us, and this is where we have more power to change. Just like when you are watching a TV, every program exists as potential no matter whether the TV is tuned or not. Every TV program that exists is currently being transmitted. It is the receiver that decides which program to watch and therefore what colours the pixels will be. As with our screen of reality, we can choose what program we are tuned to. If we don't like the program we are watching, we can change the program by changing the thoughts and beliefs we are entangled with, and therefore allowing Indra's net to mirror to us a different reality that resonates with our new interactions. Now, just to finish with, let's take this a step further. What if every moment in time, past or future, also has its own screen or Indra's net? And all these screens are all layered on top of each other on and on for infinity. And what if our memories and imaginings are simply the past or future timelines that most strongly resonate with our current frequency? As happens with any current experience or situation, we draw the highest probability, future or past, to us based on our interactions with it. That means we can change the past and the future just by changing our frequency. By changing our inner world and therefore our interactions with all the infinite possibilities that exist across time and space, we can choose and change what we perceive on the incredible screen of our reality. We are then indeed the hands of God, here to create a new reality on a new earth.